Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short and it's reaction time. Gonna be throwing at some random stuff here, and I wanted to start with one because I listened to this album pretty much for a week straight when it first came out at the beginning of April, no, middle of April, but I had it a little bit earlier, so it's like the beginning of April. Then forgot about it for a few weeks and just come back to it again recently and been like, oh my God, I love this album so much. But it does require a question, and it's simply this. Brendan, do you like instrumental drone metal?
I like instrumental metal.
How do you feel about drone, that term?
I don't know. I don't really understand it. I mean, the problem I have with it, I'm I don't know, a revolutionary, a rebel against certain terms in metal. I don't like them.
No
even
secret.
even if the band say them, I understand all that. But realistically, I find the whole notion of the word drone to be extremely odd because it only brings to mind one of two things. Like the first one being the flying device. And the second one, actually, drone is usually a negative term, as in, oh my God, doesn't he drone on?
Yeah.
So I don't hear, oh my God, this is the drone band, and it puts me into a positive mind frame. It makes me go, oh, even if I don't fully understand what it means. So
I
it's like
don't
somebody
think
saying, hey, my genre is shit or boring. You go, okay, cool, let me check it out. Oh yeah, in our genre, we drone on. It's a negative term. It's a weird thing, isn't it?
It is a weird thing. It is a weird term, and for the I wouldn't say I've got a great grasp of what I could, like, if you played me music and said I identified this beyond a lot of. I mean, I'm pretty good at most of it, but I wouldn't necessarily sometimes be able to differentiate between, say, well, no, I can differentiate between drone and noise and stuff like that. But
Oh, you'll
if they said,
definitely be
oh,
better at the genre splitting than I am, 100%. Because I still, I don't care if it makes me like sound stupid or ignorant or anything like that, but I still don't fully understand the notion of post in comparison in some genres. Not generally. I understand the literal meaning of these things, but I don't always understand it when I hear a song and I go, "Will you tell me how that song is not this genre here?" Because actually they sound fucking identical.
yeah, I blame post-hardcore for that because so many bands are like, oh, we're post-hardcore, but they
Yeah.
also sound more like a metalcore band, or they just are an outright hardcore. It's the term post is dare I say overused in metal these days.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
asked that. I asked that anyway because that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a drone track from a drone band, a black drone metal band. I'm going to be, I don't know if it's controversial to say this. It might be, it probably is to some people and so on. But I generally think these days, metal is lacking creativity. And what I mean by that is it's not a slur. I think there's incredible music coming from so many incredible bands, so much so that I generally think the standard is just impossibly high now.
Mm.
It doesn't matter how many times I'll hear a post-hardcore metalcore song. If it's a banging song, I'm going to enjoy it. It doesn't matter how many times I'm going to hear a death metal track. If it's a banging death metal track, that's all that matters. But it won't necessarily make me think it was creative. Oh, it's a brilliant song and I really, really like it. But creative, making me think, making me feel sometimes. In that sense where I'm just gobsmacked that I want to pick my phone up immediately and text my wife and say, oh my fucking God. That's harder to find, I personally think. There is one area I go to now, and part of it's been by what I've listened to this year. And I've come across a couple of drone bands that is doing some of the most creative stuff in the entire world as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And this band, who are called Bolt, they're called Bolt, but it's different. It's closed square brackets, BOLT, all spaced apart with a closed square bracket. And the album, which was released on April 21st, 2023, is their fifth record, and it's open bracket 05, close bracket. They're from Germany, and I gave the album a stonking 10 out of 10. I fucking loved it. But there's one track more than any other I keep going back to, and that is what I want Brendan to listen to. I just want to gauge his opinion on it because I find this track one of the most mesmerizing pieces of music. I basically listened today alone. I probably listened to this track 10 times.
Right.
That's how like addictive it is for me. So I'm kind of intrigued. I'm not even going to ask, have you heard of this band? or anything
No.
like that? Because your face kind of, you made a couple of faces there.
Oh, I honestly like this fucking. Oh, like, let's do all the titles in capitals. Let's use symbols like the, for the at. Like let's, instead of the word at, let's change like let's have an exclamation mark instead of an I. The only thing this fucking does is if I write something in Word or in an email, it just leaves me with little blue lines everywhere because it thinks I've spelled everything fucking wrong.
It is.
Let's put
It
things
is.
inside square brackets. Why?
It is does make this band hard to search for. I will admit that. Searching on YouTube is a problem. Searching on our own site, you couldn't find this if you just put in BOLT.
Yeah.
Like that's how difficult it is. So I do think there is a problem there. But
Cool
hey,
marketing move, hey.
well, the 5 albums in, so do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Well,
think there's
fair
any
enough.
changing it now.
Yeah.
So we are going to do the first track of this album, and it is close square brackets 3, 2. Open close brackets, close brackets 32 in between. I don't want to do all the bloody bracket parts. Just want to get it correct.
Is that what they do when they introduce themselves? Do they say we are Bolt, or do they go we are Bolt in brackets?
Well, everywhere. Like if you look at the Bandcamp, like the Bandcamp address, the website address, it's we are Bolt. Like we are Bolt. So I imagine it's just. I imagine I'm being pedantic about it, and the band would just be like, just call us Bolt. Just call us Bolt. Yeah. All right, we're going to do this. It's the first track from this album. I'm fascinated to hear what you think. We'll do this in 3, 2, 1, go.
Huh.
It's coming.
I can play this bit.
There's a track one of a two LP album that's like nearly 80 minutes long. Wow. Well, you know what I think. I think you're muted.
Yep, I am. I'm not. I was. What do I think? I mean, I don't. All right, first thing I am going to point out on the genre again. I don't listen to that now and go, "Oh, now I clearly know what drone is."
No, but
Because I'm like, okay, so this is like post-atmospheric, there's
mm.
all these other things as well. So it doesn't help me from a genre perspective. um, I felt weirdly enough, I thought that at the beginning of the song, the intro of the song, let's say intro is quite lengthy, obviously, but
Yep.
it sort of had a Christmassy feel to it.
I've not got that at all. That's
No,
insane.
yeah, no, I was like, oh, it kind of feels like a build up to like a Christmas movie or something like that. None of this is like going to surprise anybody, but it's obviously very, very slow. Like
Mm.
really slow, which is obviously the point. I'm not saying it's slow, like, oh my god, they mess up because they're slow, but it's just really slow. Uh, I could not believe I was genuinely in shock when I was just listening, and I kind of felt like, in terms of where a song structure would be, that all right, that's the intro to the song, like you're about to go into the first verse sort of territory, and it was 4.5 minutes in, and I was like, all right, you stretched that fucking out, didn't you? Um, you know, it's one of those things, right? I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, I hate it, because I don't hate it.
Mm.
I don't like it. It's not like hateable, is it? It's nice to
It's
listen
you
to. It's
like metal
atmospheric.
music, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do, and I like the fuzzy sort of distortion on the guitars when they're kind of in play. I like when they're a little bit more at the forefront in the last second to last kind of section of the song. I even like the part where the drummer kind of wakes up and hits the drum twice every now and then instead of once near the end. Just like, oh, I'll use my other arm now. In my head, like I'm imagining stuff. I'm like, oh, he found the other drumstick, like he dropped it and he'd just been playing with one, and then he was like, oh, there it is. Now I can hit two drums.
It's all about patience.
It's all about patience, but like usually people are patient because you're waiting for a payoff. And that's the
Mm.
problem with this sort of music for me sometimes, is while I enjoyed it and enjoyed listening to it, I often find myself, not their fault, no one's fault, but I often find myself waiting for something to happen.
Mm.
And I don't feel like it really ever did. Now, the problem I have with things like the bits where it say it kicks in, not kicks in, but like, the distorted guitars come back in and there's a little switch ups and transitions like that, is that I felt like every time they transitioned into that, it was done through almost going to silence to then come back in with that. It wasn't like a flow. It was like, and that section's done. And now here we're going to do another thing here. Um, unfairly, I wrote down this is high quality elevator music at one point.
Okay. All
But
right.
this is a stylistic problem rather than a band problem, right? Obviously, very good at what they're trying to do. I get that. I can feel the fact that it's atmospheric. I enjoy the difference, the melodies. I enjoy the darker, dirty tone. I enjoy, like I said, the distortion. I enjoy all of those moments. But for me personally, I didn't enjoy the overall journey.
There's something I wanted to purposely left out at the beginning part, because I kind of wanted to gauge your thoughts and see if this then, when it was revealed, if it would change your thought process or anything like that. But Bolt is a band that's literally two bass guitars and drums only.
I just think they need friends, and they'd probably be a bit better then. If you can find a friend who can play the guitar, you might put like a few extra little bits and bobs together. Now, look, I think that's, it's different. Doing that is pretty cool. Does a band need two basses and a guitar, as two basses and a drummer? Yeah, like if I'm looking at things and going like, I want people to be fresh and I want them to try things differently. Of course I do. So is that the difference I'm hoping for? No. That's the truth. I'm not sitting there going, God, if only they get rid of the singer and the guitarist, and then I'd be much happier with this band. Like, do you know what I mean? That's not the sort of thing I look for. But like, I can appreciate the fact that, like, what I like, I'm not trying to diss it, because I'm not saying it's bad music. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a bad band. I enjoyed it, but my general kind of mood or vibe, I don't really see where I listen to that sort of stuff. Like, like you said, you listen to it multiple times today. I don't think I could have. I mean, I've been at work and driving, man. I don't think like I'd have got anything done like after the second listen. I'd have probably just like fell into some sort of like hypnotized stupor, where I was no longer able to function because I was just so tired and now was operating really slowly and pressing buttons like that.
But then I had that. Then it's still fascinating that that's the even thought process you would have, that it could have that potential effect upon you. Which
yeah, because I can
may
appreciate
not be something you want. Yeah.
No. I can appreciate that's what I'm saying. Like they're obviously very good at what they do, and I can feel the atmospheric building within it, and I enjoy those elements of it. But almost to my curse, I guess sometimes what I'm often doing in a track, I don't know, man. Maybe it's like subconscious. Maybe it's whatever, or maybe it's because I don't understand these subgenres so much that I don't go into them with a kind of idea of what I'm going to get. So it's almost like always a surprise, like we say, oh, Brendan, we're going to play a drone song. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Let's listen to it. So I'm like, is it going to kick in? Is it going to do this? What I mean? Perhaps a better understanding of the subgenres, and I'll go into it a little bit more, like understanding what I'm going to expect, and then maybe adapting myself to that. Or perhaps if not them, but if everyone just stopped having so many fucking subgenres, I could keep up with it. But look, musically, I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it. It's very, very slow. Is the whole album instrumental?
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the other factors that I was kind of thinking of throughout it. Like, I'm assuming it's all this same sort of style, but whether or not listening to it as like a kind of whole piece of art, and it then almost like going from track 1 into track 2 and all that, whether I might appreciate the individual components more when I listen to the whole,
No, I get that. It's good this is the first taste of the album, so it's not like you pull around the middle part. I do get that. I didn't actually expect realistically to win you over with this. I know how challenging, I know how how Marmite music like this can be. I simply wanted to do it purely because for me, it's one of the best things. That's literally up there as one of my favorite tracks of the entire year. And that to me is fascinating because I know also, even knowing that, I'm not in the mindset. You often are in a mindset where you're like, this track is so fucking good, everybody should love it, everybody will love it. That's not what I have here. This is one where I like, this track's so fucking good, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't going to like it. And it's that aspect of things, because
it's
for me,
between like not liking it because I guess but it's not liking it not because like, oh my god, these guys suck or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not that. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I feel with music like this, it's very much mood orientated as well, right? So like I might listen to this on a Monday and hate it, and listen to it on a Thursday and love it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you never know. If I'm in a particular sort of mood and I'm like, oh, I want to blast out some like, I don't know, fucking death metal or something like that, and then this came on in my rotation, I'm skipping it. Whereas obviously other times you're more introspective and whatnot, and this might come, the death metal comes on and you skip that, and you might stop on something like this.
Well, I love it. Every time I hear that, as you say, the Christmas part at the start, and then it switches to that guitar just going, and just that melody, just it kills me. I love it too fucking much. But fair enough. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Brendan? Where do you sit on this one? It's Bolts 32. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?